Hello, I'm Zach Fick with Between Two Kegs. Today we've got Barrett Tillman, retired web designer, and now brewer. Barrett, welcome to the show.
I think it's too young to retire, though.
Barrett, tell me a little about what you do and tell me what Black Man Brewing means to you.
Wow. What do I do? Yeah. Life has been fun for me. What Black Man Brewing means to me is, like an opportunity to express myself through creative arts, talents, gifts, and abilities. A little bit about myself. I like to kind of really dive deeply into my hobbies, right? And so Black Man Brewing is an expression of my hobby, just like web design started off as a hobby as well, and later into a career. So
you have hobbies.
Plenty.
You were a home brewer when I first met you. Black Man Brew was the name back then.
Absolutely.
What were you brewing back then, and are you still brewing it?
Oh, that's a good question. I started off brewing, like the standard styles, make a nice stout, make a nice IPA, and then I moved into making wild and esoteric beers. That really took a lot of learning. They weren't always good, so over time I just kind of got better at making the esoterics. But it started off brewing, like a 4-core, a pale, a stout, an IPA, things that your friends like to drink.
Were you brewing those in your home?
Oh, absolutely. As fast as I could.
On glass now too. You weren't playing with much stainless back then.
Yeah. Demi-Johns, carboys, little parts and pieces all over the house.
In your kitchen?
Oh, yeah.
And fermenting where? Where were you fermenting this beer?
Closets, garages, back rooms, there was beer everywhere.
Yeah.
There's still beer everywhere.
Still in the closet?
No, it's out of the closet now.
Beer's out of the closet. Tell me what you've done and what you've learned over working for a few breweries. From my understanding now, you've worked for a couple. One with me.
Absolutely. I think that's the dream every homebrewer has, is to someday open their own brewery.
Right.
Because you take that hobby, you take the passion, you take the art, and you just imagine yourself as a brewmaster. Making beer on the side was just a hobby. And
right.
So to take those experiments that I had going on in my garage and to get real serious about that really kind of took a cycle of loss. Lost my mom, she passed away, and then I shut down relationships and I lost one of my best friends that was like a grandmother to me. So I think that segue with loss kind of really encouraged me to just live the life I imagined.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about your mom, Barrett. But I do understand that when sometimes loss of a loved one or a personal situation that we're in makes us stronger.
Absolutely.
And it's a personal reflection that I think that you grew into with Black Man Brewing. Of course, being a leader at the breweries in Dallas that you've worked with, one being Deep Ellum Brewery. Can you tell me a little bit more about your personal reflection with Black Man Brew? I'll start with the yeast cultivation. You're one of this great yeast cultivators that nobody really talks about. But yeast, of course, is the one ingredient that turns, wort into alcohol, into beer.
Yeast is great, I believe that science is the art of observation, Whenever you look at the world around you and you start asking deep philosophical questions, you can look to nature, you can look to the arts, you can look to music even, and find deeper meanings, right? Why are we so passionate about music? Why are we so passionate about art? Where is the source of our creativity? So for me to be in IT and doing web design projects kind of all over the US, I would try to bring back a little bit of each trip. And I did that by collecting yeast from local fruits and grains and things like that. And and incorporating those into my homebrew, right? And I noticed at that point that my homebrew just tasted like no one else's. And so later on, that just became my yeast company, Black Man Yeast. But still just another reflection of what I was already doing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You had a love of music for sure. And I want to go back into that. You know, we all have our network of music that we listen to, whether it puts us in a excited moment or calms us down. You know, you have a music moment when I've seen you brew beer. You see beer almost in the style of music. That's one reason why I think a lot of the colors in your beer are so vivid, because you read music and you interpret it into a color. Is that what I'm reading? Am I finding that? Am I making sense?
Alabama Shakes has this. Alabama Shakes has this album that's called
Alabama
Sound
Shakes?
and Color.
Shit, that's
right?
a good band. Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's it. Whenever I hear music, I see color, right? It's like vibrancies,
Right.
browns, reds, yellows, greens, you know, sort of that same kind of trance-like, transcendental meditation, things like that. And that is an energy for me. It's a driver. It's peaceful, you know. I'm able to slow down my brain. I'm not kind of, you know, like being ADD, and I'm not able to hold my thoughts. So music is a way for me to relax, you know.
Good. When I think of Gypsy, I think of free-spirited traveler.
Yes.
Less is more. More is too much. Tell me what you've been doing this last year, traveling. I've seen you with brewers I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I've seen you take photos of flowers and plants, and I have a feeling that intertwines with your brewing. You were in Tennessee not too long ago, and you were telling me about Juneteenth. Tell me what Juneteenth is and how you're bringing that into your brewing style.
Wow. The Juneteenth moment for me kind of happened on a mountainside in the Smoky Mountains. You know, like you're hiking through the woods, there's a canopy of leaves above you, tree bark on your right, tree bark on your left, and a single path, right? And so when I came back from that, I had the concept of you know, Gypsy style brewing to pave my own course, right? And when I came back, I released a beer with the local brewery here that was called Gesho Forest, right? It's a beer that's made with leaves and bark, and that just kind of represented charting my own course.
What message are you looking to get to?
The message is create together, you know. The project for me is an exploration. Like, I'm in search of Black Man Brewing, you know, given the things that I know about the industry, given the types and styles of beers that I like to make. In search of Black Man Brewing just allows me to express that story, to tell that story every step of the way, you know, and to meet friends and family and partners that's willing to take that journey with me. So to walk in the woods, a free spirit, you know, kind of making up life as we go. There's always someone else that crosses our path, you know, and I want to be open to that.
Good. Well, Barrett, I got you a gift. I wanted, before we leave, and we could stay here and talk, you know, for quite a while, but I did want to leave you something that meant a lot to me. A nice, fancy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
I think you'd appreciate it.
I like gifts.
Good.
If I can get it out of this box. I think this is the perfect gift for a show like this. Takes you back to those days where you stand on the keg with your buddies.
You might not leave home
This
that.
thing up.
I use that thing quite a bit.
I'm gonna put it to work now. What's in this keg?
I think it's empty. I don't know.
It should be.
It better be.
You shouldn't have this kind of device in your household.
Whoa!
I knew that was gonna happen.
That's awesome. much for doing that.